2023 at 2:30 PM.
Next item is Parks and Recreation.
I have an alternate motion for that. I would like to make an alternate motion to adjust the rate of 12 lifeguards to to $13.65 per hour, grade A, for Monday through Friday, and $15.06 per hour on Saturday and Sundays. And adjust the rate for one lifeguard supervisor, $16, $2.60.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, we should only do one at a
Okay,
time.
sorry, it's all right.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Yes.
Do we have a second?
And what was that, 50?
I would second it.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Honor?
And you said that was what, 15 what?
1506?
Yeah, it's 1 1/4, not 1 1/2.
Okay, okay.
Here.
All right, no, that's good. All right, yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
It's not sufficient to make a difference, no.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
All right, the next item is the lifeguard supervisor.
I make a alternate motion to adjust the rate for one lifeguard supervisor, $16 per hour, grade 1 SA, for Monday through Friday, and $24 per hour on Saturday and Sunday. I make that as a motion.
Could you repeat that, please?
Adjust the rate of one lifeguard supervisor to $16 an hour, which it currently is, grade S1A, for Monday through Friday, and $24 per hour on Saturday and Sunday.
Do we have a second?
I don't know, I'm just thinking about this, if that was even good at the 1506, because now the,
By Roberts,
yeah.
since that can be changed, we can go back and rediscuss that first
Yeah, we're in
motion
the
if
same
Rocky,
session.
we're in the same session, so if Rocky has some
Yeah, because,
concerns.
well, like my concern is like we're getting the lifeguard and the supervisor like pretty close to the same salary.
My concern is, oh, sorry if you're.
No, and I mean, I just wanted to make a comment about this before, and if anybody had any like questions here, we do want to raise the salaries. I mean, there's a problem that we have that we can't get lifeguards. And, I think what people don't realize that the training is different, for at a pool than it is at a lake. And a lot of the area pools that I have called are having trouble getting lifeguards also, and they're thinking about putting the rate up. And I think I've said this before, if we don't have lifeguards, we're losing anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a day. And I think that's one of the things, why we want to adjust this. And it's not just over that, I think it's a liability that we have. I mean, you have a liability of just swim at your own risk. I mean, that's a great liability to the county. And, like I said, I'm not sure now about that 1506. I thought that was gonna be another one that was gonna be raised, but I think it's pretty close for the regular lifeguard to the supervisor. And, I mean, I'm not so sure about that 1506 now.
While I certainly believe the lifeguards and the supervisor are well worth it, but to give the supervisor an $8 an hour increase, even on just a Saturday and Sunday, and the lifeguards themselves, the 12 lifeguards, $1.41, they have a very difficult job. It's not like a swimming pool in the municipalities where you can see the bottom. I'm more concerned about the repercussions. We already have an issue with salaries and disparity in a lot of the positions. And my other question would be, is it in the budget? And that's the question you always ask the other row officers and people that come for a raise, is it in the budget?
Well, in regards to being in the budget or the ability to create a return on investment, over the entire season, the motions that are actually on the agenda would cost the county $8,476.80, about $282 a day for those weekends. That would result in anywhere from, let's see, the actual data would be, my gosh, anywhere the potential revenue of 3,000, just go by the minimum, $3,000 a day times those 30 weekend days, significant return on investment. So it's well worth the investment. The repercussion in regards to, let's say, disenfranchising current employees, I'd be more than willing to make a motion that would allow any county employee who is certified to hold a second seasonal position and work on Saturdays and Sundays and earn either the $20.48 per hour that is proposed or the $24. Every individual in this county has an opportunity to apply for those jobs, to include county employees. And if we have to modify a personnel policy to do so, to give them that opportunity, just like they have an opportunity to go to union positions if they're concerned about the benefits union employees have. $15.06 from $13.65 is not going to motivate an existing lifeguard to work Saturday and Sunday.
And I would disagree that not every county employee would be capable of
wouldn't.
performing that lifeguard
They wouldn't.
duty as well. So, and they do have families and life on weekends, so.
But again, we're not discriminating by saying you can't earn that. We're providing an opportunity for employees to earn $20.48 an hour, either new or existing. I would see it. I just,
And even like if you're going back to like the job descriptions, like, I don't know where you would even, like almost like the whole state is having trouble with lifeguards.
significant.
And how do you actually even gauge a job description for this? I mean, I think this is something, this to me is a temporary fix, and I think the way it started out was we wanted to get lifeguards here and give them an incentive for the weekend. So if we're gonna more of an incentive during the week, are they even gonna show up on the weekends? You know, it's, I don't know. That's where
Yeah.
I'm going at.
Can I ask for clarification, please? On the lifeguard supervisor, I heard their current rate is $16 an hour, Monday through Friday. And on Saturdays and Sundays, I heard $24 per hour.
That is what I heard.
That's not an alternate motion, that's exactly what's on the agenda.
Exactly, yeah, exactly, that is it.
I'm sorry, it was,
Yeah.
you know, the wrong one.
Yeah,
Should've
I
been
think
20.
20 is what he had on his, yeah.
If I can
Yeah.
correct it, if
Yeah.
it's not too late.
Yeah.
Well, I think we have a motion on the
We have
floor
a
just on
motion
that
on
one,
that
and then
one.
we could return to the
Yeah.
first one if you
Yeah.
wanna supersede, yeah.
That
Well,
motion up again.
Further discussion on that, the plan for the lifeguard supervisor is he or she, it's currently, he is already currently scheduled to work Saturdays and Sundays. Right, that is part of the details that the park director has provided for that particular individual. Obviously, those are the high usage days. So I can't see the logic of going from 16 to 20 for that individual, yet going more or less $1.50 for the lifeguards. There's an inequality there. I don't see the logic of that. I could see a logic if you put up the supervisor about the same amount, but taking him up $4 and it
But
just
we've
doesn't.
been doing the same thing, going from the original proposal of $13.65 to 20, which was about $6-7 an hour, and lifeguard or the supervisor $8.
But that was equal, we were taking them both up, what would be the equivalent of time and a half,
And I would
right?
take it,
Quarter, right, yeah.
So we do have a motion on the floor for what is exactly on the agenda. Do we have a second?
I would like to amend that to 20 in the proposal, especially since the other one passed, so.
Is it still open for discussion? Okay.
Well, do we need a second for that amendment, though?
I'll second the modification, sure.
I was concerned about, I think the same as you gentlemen, two things, the liability exposure to the county, which could be obviously huge, and then weighing the financial commitment to attract and retain lifeguards. And I think I would agree with Commissioner Lukasevich, if we were less fair with lifeguards, we may not attract and retain lifeguards, but yet we're looking to do 50% increase on the supervisors. Now it's going to be amended. So I'm not sure what level would be enough to do that. Maybe you gentlemen have more knowledge than I do.
Yeah, and what my question was, even like when we were talking about this for the last couple of weeks, I think we had a discussion. I think it has to do with like the rotation also. You know, if you put somebody in rotation and they're working so many hours during the week, do they want to work on the weekends? You know, you have to have a rotation, and not every, you know, not the same 4 people are working Saturday and Sunday. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
something that gotta be watched too.
Right.
So I mean, I'm thinking like starting off at this is a good step. And if it comes to whatever we'd have in the next week or two, I don't see any reason why we couldn't amend this then. You know what I mean? To a higher rate. Maybe we might even look at that, the supervisor might need more, and you know what I mean? But we gotta start somewhere.
Right.
And I think once you get it in a rotation, and I even with the director, I said to him, you have to be fair to everybody and make sure that the same person does not get the overtime on Saturday and Sunday. Because that way you're gonna lose lifeguards. You have to put, if you have 4 of them, then the next weekend, the other 4 have the option. Now, they could, you know, say, I don't wanna work it, then you go back on the rotation, but I don't know if we're getting too far ahead of ourselves by just adjusting what we have here now. You know what I mean? And like I said, in 2 weeks from now, we could amend this again.
Sure.
You know, see how it works, put it in, take it easy, and I think we did have some thought in it to have it at that rate, and we might have another thought in 2 weeks from now.
I
You know.
remind the public specifically that last year, out of the 101 days of summer, 29 days we could not charge. And again, just multiply that out times 3,000. So you're looking anywhere really between being able to fill those spots, and we're looking at 5 lifeguards on duty, right? 4 lifeguards and 1 supervisor. That's optimal, because you can open up all 3 sections of the beach. When we don't have 5, and again, this is in this new year with this new structure that's out there with the lifeguard supervisor, talk about risk. So now instead of having 1,000 people in 3 swimming areas, you might have them in 2 swimming areas, or even 1 swimming areas. Talk about a challenging environment for a lifeguard, to include the challenge of not being able to actually see the bottom. Now you have the potential of anywhere from 0 to 800 people into 1 small swimming section versus dispersed over 3, if you're not going to be able to incentivize these individuals to work on the days that are currently, if at best, have minimal coverage, which is 2 lifeguards, 1 in the chair, 1 in the lifeguard station. In regards to 2 or 3 weeks from now readdressing it, that is not going to provide us the opportunity to get new men, women, boys and girls certified and into our system. It takes us weeks to onboard a new person. The fact is also, during the summer months, you see a dearth, a lack of certification, recertification courses. So if you don't get those young men and women, boys and girls now, you're not getting them, because they're at Lehigh, they're at Palmerton, they're at Weatherly. You're not going to incentivize them to change mid-course. And even if they would do that, we'd rob from Peter, be it Lehigh, Palmerton, or Weatherly, right, doing a disservice to our other communities. We have to onboard them. And we know as a minimum that's going to take 2 weeks, and more than likely it's going to take 3 or 4 weeks, even if that individual was certified. You know, so again, I think sometimes you got to go ahead and reach out there. We can always readjust and lower the salary just as easily as we can raise it. I would rather start high and lower it versus going low and trying to raise it and not being able to fill our chairs out there.
One quick question, of those 29 days,
Yeah.
how many were weather-related closures? that the
No.
lifeguards were not on duty.
None of those 29 days were weather closures. 12 of them occurred on weekends, but there was not a full weather closure day of those 29 days where we did. Those were swim at your own risk, not weather closures.
And where do we
Yeah.
stand at staffing now on lifeguards?
Yeah.
I think, when I talked to him yesterday, I think he had one recommendation sent down, and, he has two more that are inquiring, or that he's looking at right now.
Yeah.
That's last I heard.
Yeah, I think it was 7 possible. I printed it out, I didn't pull it off my
Yeah, and
computer.
I think there's
Yeah.
7 possible,
Yeah,
but I don't, some of them might be coming in, I think by was it the 13th or something
yeah, there's one
like
coming in
that.
15 June, cause she's
Yeah.
coming from out of
Yeah, it
state
wouldn't
into
be-
some.
Is that
you
to
know.
fill the 4 positions?
No, they have 4 positions, well, they have 3 chairs and 1 in the guards, or in
Right, yeah.
the
Okay.
first
The
aid.
station, yeah.
So they technically need 8 in a day, and there's 7, so it's gonna be giving overtime to somebody during, you know what I mean? If there's
Right,
only
yeah.
7, you need 8 for
Right.
the rotation.
And are some returnees?
Yeah, there's a couple, there are, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, the other thought I had as well is, maybe, 1.25% increase now, percent, but the time and a quarter. Come August, when the kids come back to school, then maybe it really is feasible to, increase it to that time and a half. 'Cause it gives more incentives of, if the kids are at a local college, the incentive to come back. That's when we really start really, running into the problem with lifeguards, is in August, September, over the Labor Day weekend, because the kids returning to school.
I don't, if I could go back to the first motion, the 1365 to 1506, is that it? Can someone confirm that's a 1.25 versus something other than that?
I didn't bring the scale
Yeah,
with
I
me,
just
but-
checked,
And I didn't have the scale for the
Yeah.
supervisor, so that,
oh, right, I see, yeah,
I just.
yeah, kinda gotta. Cause it should be right around $3 and something additional, should be in the, almost the $17 range for, right?
I come up with 1706.
Yeah, 1706, yeah, that would be, if we went 1.25, that'd be 1706. And then, like, your, other motion would be taking it to $20 for the supervisor.
So we do have that motion to amend, open yet.
So I
Oh,
was
we
wrong
saw.
in the first motion?
Yeah, it was a little less than what you really
Should've been
want.
what?
Should have been 1706, where's that with our scales? Lisa, do you have that? What's
I don't
clo-
have the.
Oh, okay.
No, wait a minute.
What's closest to 1706?
And they are a 2.
Yes,
Way, yeah.
It's closer to a J step.
2J.
A J is 1705.
Oh, that's right there. All right. And then the $20 an hour would be closest to, again, the supervisor
That's a
one.
1.
y-
That is
one.
closest to
That's
a J is 1998.
1J, 1998. Two J.
If I wasn't not mistaken, that other rate would have been, right at the end of the scale. After the or over the end,
J.
if I recall.
Yeah. So,
That would be okay.
Yeah. yeah, if we could go ahead, Bob, and maybe reconsider, and I'd make a motion once we clean this one up. All right, let's clean this one up. So, but I wanna, what do we need to do? We need the modification,
Motion to amend the
Right.
rate for one lifeguard supervisor, $16 per hour, grade S1A for Monday through Friday, and $20 per hour for Saturday and Sunday.
right. And what we really wanna do, though, is modify it to the S1J, which is 1998, because that's on our scale.
Keep it on scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if Commissioner Notsi makes that modification to his motion, then I would go ahead and second that to 1998, and then would ask us to reconsider the
So
vote.
much for a short meeting.
Right. We're on it.
Okay, so we have a motion.
To modify the salary to the S1J
Yeah.
at 1998.
Yeah,
In a second,
yeah, I'll second that.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to poll the board. Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Honor?
I guess, yes.
Yeah,
Mr. Lukasevich?
yes,
Mr. Notstein?
yeah. Now I'll make a motion to reconsider, the first one, first the move to reconsider. And then I'll make a motion to,
Second, I'll second that.
yeah.
Okay. Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So then, I guess, I'll go ahead and move to adjust to a 2J 1705.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Mr. Severcek?
Yes.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Lukasevich?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.